My name is Dan Cooper. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Diamond, Yacht, and Horowitz. I'm representing the XYZ company in this arbitration proceeding. Now, I know you've been sworn in and have I've read the report that you filed as an expert witness, and I'd like to ask you a few questions. In your report, you state that the strategy recommended by XYZ was, quoted, a flawed strategy. Was the supply chain strategy that ABC had before it engaged with XYZ a good strategy?
No, it wasn't a good strategy either.
Well, can you explain? Tell me why not.
Well, it simply pushed the customer's orders down to the manufacturing floor, so you had at any given time about 6 weeks worth of orders all competing for the same capacity and parts. And that caused a lot of mistakes to be made, and you ended up doing a lot of expediting at the last minute to get the orders out.
And that chaos must have cost lots of money. I mean, in emergency parts orders, overtime, overnight shipping, etc. Is that correct?
Yes, it was a very expensive strategy.
But now, didn't the strategy that XYZ recommend address those issues? I mean, by scheduling 6 weeks into the future, there was time allowed to order parts in large quantities, ship in large quantities, produce to a set schedule. Is that not the case?
Yeah, they addressed the parts side of the equation, but now you're producing to a forecast. So the parts that you buy and the end items that you produced are based on your forecast. So you end up making a lot of stuff that you may not sell and keep an inventory for months, and at the same time have other items that the customer wants, but you don't have it available and you can't respond.
So the key to making the XYZ strategy work was to have a good forecast of demand, right?
Yeah, if you had a forecast that was good for 6 weeks into the future, but anything would work if you could forecast for 6 weeks into the future.
So now whose fault was it that the forecast was not good?
Demand depends on the economy, it depends on the weather, it depends on what your supplier is doing, it depends on how well your customers are doing. There's just lots of uncertainty in the future, and I studied the data. I am convinced that a 6 weeks forecast into the future is not going to be very accurate in this industry.
Professor Gilbert, are you aware that the strategy recommended by XYZ is widely used in a variety of industries? Are you familiar with sales and operations planning, which is also referred to commonly as S&OP?
Yeah, I've heard of S&OP.
Would you explain your understanding of S&OP?
Well, all of the different functions in the company, finance and marketing and operations and procurement and so forth, collectively come up with a plan typically for 3 months into the future, and so that helps them estimate cash flow, capacity, labor requirements, and those kinds of things that they need.
And isn't that plan then based on a forecast?
The key word is plan. A plan is a guess as to what you're going to do in the future. A schedule is what you actually do, and that's different. Scheduling should be based on customers' orders, not on a forecast.
Professor Gilbert, have you ever heard of material requirements planning, which is also known as MRP, or another version of it called enterprise resource planning, which is referred to as ERP? Have you heard of those?
Yes, those tools take your forecast and they translate it into weekly planned production levels for each of your items, procurement levels for each of your parts, capacity requirements for your machines, and all of those kinds of things. Again, the key word there is plan.
Are these tools not useful?
You have to have a plan. You have to forecast, and you have to plan. You have to keep track of your inventory. You have to keep track of your orders. So certainly the database that MRP or ERP provides is useful. It's a necessary thing to run your business.
But again, doesn't MRP use a forecast?
It uses a forecast to make a plan. The schedule needs to be based on customers' orders.
So, in your view, then, what's the problem with XYZ's approach to scheduling?
The bullwhip effect is that at the heart of the problem. It takes you 6 weeks to respond to changes in the level of demand. So if demand increases and you take 6 weeks to respond, you've already used up all your inventory and you're probably not meeting your customers' orders. Or if the demand drops and it takes you 6 weeks to respond, you've piled up a bunch of inventory that you don't need.
Dr. Gilbert, let's be serious for a moment. It's either the build-to-order strategy that ABC itself admits wasn't working, or the firm planned order strategy that you claim doesn't work in practice, but is used widely throughout the industry. Help me understand this.
Well, you've reduced it to 2 options, and anytime you do that, you've constrained your thinking. The XYZ strategy doesn't work because it translates all of the variation of the customer's orders to the factory floor. The ABC strategy did that. The XYZ strategy, on the other hand, is unresponsive to changes in the customer demand, and it creates huge swings in production and then in inventories and causes stockouts and overstocks.
All right, then in that case, then what would have been a better option?
ABC is in a market where build-to-order makes all the sense in the world. Their customers don't expect the product to be delivered from 6 weeks after the order is placed. 4 weeks would give them a competitive advantage, so certainly a build-to-order strategy would work for them.
So are you saying that they shouldn't begin to build the end items until they get the orders? Do you know any manufacturing company that actually does this?
Yeah, in fact, right now I'm working with a John Deere facility, and that's exactly what they do. They wait till they receive the orders before they start building the item.
But without a forecast, I mean, how would John Deere know which parts to stock?
They don't order the parts until they receive the orders either.
What? Are you implying that ABC shouldn't buy parts until after they receive the orders for the end item?
Yes, that's pretty much what I'm saying. I looked at the data, and there were lots of occasions where they ordered a part, a huge unanticipated order, and ordered it and got it within a week. So imagine what the suppliers could do if they were seeing regular orders weekly with very small variations. They should have no trouble at all filling those orders very quickly.
Now, Professor Gilbert, surely you're aware there's a difference between building agricultural combines and building electronic gear. I mean, do you know anybody in this industry that is doing this with their suppliers?
Dell Computer.
Do you mean to tell me that when I order a computer from Dell that they haven't even yet ordered the parts that they'll use to build that computer?
That's absolutely correct.
Do you know that to be a fact, or are you just speculating?
I know that's a fact.
Is this all their parts, or just some of them that they're doing in this way?
That's all of their parts.
You mean to tell me that they haven't even bought the screws and washers that are used in that computer that I order?
No, but...
You mean to tell me they haven't even bought the boxes and the packing material for that computer that I'm ordering?
No, they haven't. But
you mean to tell me they haven't even bought the user manual and setup instructions for that computer that I order?
No, the customer still owns those. I'm sorry, the supplier still owns those.
That's all I have. Thank you for your testimony, Dr. Gilbert. I'm sure you'll be hearing back from us. Thank you very much.
Man, I wish I hadn't said that about Dale. Anytime you say something's always true or never true, you're probably getting yourself on some really thin ice. Damn. Hey, Emery, how are things at Dale today? Yeah, I wanted to thank you for that tour you gave us to our students last week. I really appreciate that. I got a question for you, Emery. Do you stock any of the parts that you use in building your computers? Oh, that's good. What about the the consumable screws and all that kind of stuff, Emery? You don't stock those either? Wow, that's all right. What about the boxes and the packing material? Oh yeah. Oh okay. The user's manuals and all that kind of stuff. Great. Thank you, Emery. Some damn lawyer tried to make a fool out of me, and I helped him all I could. But you bailed me out. I really appreciate that. Thank you.